First of all, what happens if Florida State gets out of the ACC? Everything's up in the air. Is Stanford and Cal all of a sudden they want to come back? What do we want to do here? I'm just saying we don't know the answer to these questions. And Kirk Schultz is like, can we wait until we see some of this crap that's happening off the field get resolved? Coming over here to an article about, because right now what we're going through is because of the reduction of the Pac-12, Pac-2. Basically, the problem right now is they're in a weird spot right here. Basically, the Pac-12, Pac-2, Washington State and Oregon State are like, can you guys just give us a second here? Can we operate as a 2-team league for a little bit here? The CFP committee is like, yeah, do your thing. Don't worry about it. You guys operate the way you want to operate. However, that doesn't mean they can't throw around their weight. I go into this article here because they are throwing around a considerable amount of weight that could potentially be turning off a couple of their, turning off a couple of their future people that they hope to work with. Here's what I mean. Dennis Dodd, just earlier today, the Pac-2's attempt to leverage the CFP amid final expansion negotiations. With just over 200 days until the kickoff of the 2024 football season, two schools are wielding power through one veto vote. Like I said before, okay, there's a game of chicken. They might be playing their hand over a little bit too much. If you're disagreeable, you generally get what you want in negotiations. The big five personality, traits, agreeableness. If you're disagreeable, you get what you want in negotiations. However, you're also more likely to have less friends because people just don't like you. I say that to remind you of our Mr. Schultz here from Washington State. On January 8th, the morning of the 2024 CFP National Championship, the commissioners and conference presidents who oversee the organization, known as the CFP Management Committee, met in Houston to finalize what was thought to be a formality. The goal, to address the final access point for the expanded 12-team playoff field starting next season. So if you think about this, this is like starting in July of 2024 is when this goes into effect. In the wake of realignment amid the demise of the Pac-12, not the demise, the drastic reduction of the Pac-12, because they still have the assets, they're still there. It has been thought that the 6+6 model, 6 conference champions, automatic bids, plus the 6 highest conference champions, plus the 6 automatic bids, or at-large bids, would become a 5-7 model, with the number of conference champion automatic qualifiers decreasing from 5 to 6. The 4 highest ranked such teams would receive buys into the second round. Sorry, Notre Dame. I would be shocked. Quote, I would be shocked if we don't have a 5-7 model. The CFP Board of Managers, Chairman Mark Keenum, president at Mississippi State, on that day, the Pac-12 conference has asked to wait a couple weeks. The Pac-12/2, whatever it is. 4 weeks later, there's been no movement on the issue, and there really isn't a Pac-12 either. What's left of the conference, Oregon State and Washington State, might as well be considered the Pac-2, the plucky leftovers from the Pac-12 asked to delay the vote during the January 8th meeting. The two schools, battered and bruised after being left out of conference realignment, could essentially control the CFP on any issue going forward over the next 2 years. All CFP decisions must be made unanimously. That's a very important thing. They must be made unanimously through the end of the current media rights contract, which concludes after the 2025-2026 season. As a result, less than 11 months until the 12-team playoff kicks off, the CFP is once again stuck in the mud. It helps that the Pac-2 cause that Washington State President Kirk Schultz just so happens to be the Pac-12 representative on the board. Quote, what I know for certain is that Kirk wants to use that leverage that vote for leverage, said a source close to the Pac-2. Kirk Schultz has the Pac-12 vote, and he effectively has a veto vote. Like I said, it has to be unanimous, meaning if he doesn't get what he wants, if he doesn't get certain things that he needs, he is going to veto it. Remember, he's on this board for 2 years. I say that to say the problem with that is, unfortunately, it's only for 2 years. So he's a little game of chicken here, where it's like, are you wanting to run all the way up to the end of this 2 years and get us so mad to the point to where the Big 12 and the SEC do find a way to break? Do we break away the Power 4 conferences from the other conferences? There's lots of things that could move here. But like I said before, he currently has that veto vote. He's using it because he needs a little bit of time here. That indicates this entire process is hardly the formality it was once thought to be. But the question becomes, to what end are Schultz and the Pac-12 attempting to wield their leverage? Keenum said 4 weeks ago that 2 schools had, quote, legal issues to work through. Schultz is apparently seeking voting rights and revenue assurances going forward. Yahoo Sports reported Sunday. The CFP Management Committee convenes Monday and Tuesday in regularly scheduled meetings. Schultz did not reply to a request for comment. For the two schools facing an uncertain future, holding onto that vote like a life raft in a hurricane is certainly about money. Here's why it's about money. Boom, that extra spot in the playoff is worth a lot. And we talk about the fact that, like I said, the 6-6-5-7 model as of next year, that could potentially mean that the Big 12, Big 10, ACC, SEC, and American and Sun Belt and Sun Belt and the Mountain West and the American, those could be your automatic, in terms of automatic bids into the conference. Meaning that teams like this year, I believe it was Ole Miss was like 11, Penn State was 10, somewhere around there. Those teams could be held out for a Liberty. As much as people don't like, oh gosh, Liberty or an SMU. SMU was in the American. Those two teams would be in. SMU and Liberty would be in, and Ole Miss and Penn State could be out. That's one of those examples. So that extra spot in the playoff is worth a lot. Research shows that the additional at-large bid is most likely to be filled by an SEC or Big Ten school. Wow, research? What crack team found that out? Okay. The group of five has already voted to support a 5-7 model, figuring a reduction of automatic qualifiers was inevitable anyway. The original 6-6 model was based on the Power 5 concept, with the Pac-12 gone. Hey, reduced. They're still around. It's now a Power 4 with the ACC and Big 12 alongside the SEC and Big 10. I think Schultz is just sitting on his vote, trying at the end of the day to get a little more money from the CFP, said as an industry source with an experience in such negotiations. He's not a fire thrower guy. He's made it clear that he thinks that he and Oregon State need a little special something. Like I said, he's not a fire thrower guy, so he's delaying the vote. I think everybody thinks it's going to happen at some point. I actually go through that here in a second, but he's using his leverage. He certainly got it. Pac-12 athletic departments need the boost. Washington State is 53rd nationally in revenue, $85 million, while Oregon State is 54th with 83, according to USA Today's database. To put that into the upper half of the FBS, but in the bottom half of their old conference, like I said, they want some financial insurances now so they can continue running major conference athletic departments while figuring out their futures. Oregon State and Washington State will make an estimated $35 million in the final full Pac-12 media rights payouts before the league officially ends after July 1. It's not ending. It's just reduced. After that, the schools will fight to maintain their standard of living. The pair will split what the San Jose Mercury News estimated to be $260 million from a period of multiple years. In the NCAA tournament, units owed to the Pac-12, along with the Rose Bowl payouts and settlement money from the 10 schools that left the league. However, significant liabilities are still attached to the Pac-12 brand that will be reducing the incoming income. That one lawsuit that I mentioned before about the Pac-12, the Power 5, the Pac-2, even with the fact they only have two teams, is still implicated in that perspective there. So you got to look at that. Like I said, it talks about the fact that the 12 schools are on the hook for monies owed to former partner Comcast, $72 million, and potentially the Holiday Bowl, $3 million. There's a lot of things here that are going on. Like we said before, in the beginning in 2026, everything is on the table, including potentially the size of the playoff itself. Do Schultz and the Pac-2 have enough leverage to gain certain considerations beyond the end of the contract? The goal was to always just to buy some time, set another source close to the plight of the schools. The pair can shore up their finances by joining a new conference. The ACC and Big 12 are the most desired options. The Florida State's aggressive attempt to exit the ACC is garnering particular attention. What once looked like a process that would unfold over 7 to 10 years now may only take many months. Again, so what's happening here is they're basically saying the fact that like Oregon State and Washington State are like, first of all, you don't even know if we just saw the Pac-12 fall apart. What if the ACC falls apart and we get invited in? Do we get control of those assets? We want to. Again, there's lots of questions that they're asking here, basically saying, can we get a little bit more time? We're probably going to go to 5-7. Can we get a little bit more time? Some more assurances here and there. They're just kind of doing whatever they can to find their way into that. It talks about the new subdivision. I already addressed the fact that that may happen, that may not. But NCAA president proposed a new subdivision that will cost an estimated $5 to $7 million annually per school to establish a trust fund for players. That's the $30,000 per player, whatever that is. Again, you understand that every Power 4 school must make budgetary plans for the House versus the NCAA lawsuit, which we just talked about. Again, there's lots of things here that the article continues on with. However, what I want to go through here is kind of like what I think is going to happen with this whole situation. So the Pac-12/2 possibilities. So will it be a 6-6 model or a 5-7 model for 2024 and 2025? Like I said before, that's still up in the air. It probably needs to happen before June 30th or on June 30th of 2024 because it goes into effect the very next day for the CFP. I bet it will be a 5-7, but some of those concessions will happen. Here's an example. So what if Oregon State is 10-2 and they currently have 7 conference games against the Mountain West, and they go 7-0. They're 10-2 and they go 7-0, and they're the number 19 team in the country. Are they included? Like I said, could that be an argument for it unofficially winning the Mountain West title via non-conference games? Could you say you're a conference champion? You get an automatic bid. That's an argument. I don't know. Again, for 2 years, they have an unofficial thing. It counts as a non-conference game. I don't know, but would they want that written into language? That's a possibility there. Rumor has it that the CFP board will add a requirement, quote, eventually, that all conferences will have 8 members. Hint, hint, at Pac-2. Basically, what they're saying here is the fact that they're looking at like, all right, Pac-2, here's the deal. You have to get to 8 members by 2026, the season for 2026. You have to get to 8 members. It is what it is. Okay. Also, I think what happens here is I heard the rumor here that the Big Ten wants a 16-team playoff. Here's what I think is going to happen. 2024 and 2025 will be a 5-7 model. The Pac-2 will be 2 for 2 more years, 2024 and 2025. I already addressed this before in another video that I think that the most likely outcome is they're going to pluck for the top from the Mountain West and then the top of the American and form another G5 league, but like the best G5 league, something like that. That's a possibility. They could also do the Mountain West has 12 members. If 9 of them vote to dissolve the conference, they could take 9 because there's a couple of them they would want to get out of there, but they have to take at least 9. Otherwise, there'd be a weird, complex legal situation where you said you were going to take us after we dissolved our conference, then you didn't, blah, blah, blah. So then you take those 11. So that's 13 teams. Or no, that would be 9 plus 2. That's 11. And then you'd probably add a couple teams. You probably look to add a Memphis. You probably look to add a North Texas, Texas State, another Tulane, something like that. Like I said, that's a possibility. But my best guess, though, is whatever that is, that won't happen until 2026, 2025, and 2024 will be a 5-7 model. We're going to go to a 16-team playoff. And what will happen there is it will go to a 6-10 model. So the 6-10 will be there's the 4 power conferences. And they will basically get like ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12 would all get an automatic bid. The G5, the 5 conferences, including the Pac-2, so probably 6 conferences now, there would be 2 spots between those 2 teams, those 6 leagues. And then, as opposed to having a 5-7, where there's only 7 at-large bids, there's now 10. And 3 of those 3 additional would probably go 2 SEC, 1 Big 10, maybe 1 ACC, 1 SEC, 1 Big 10. Either way, each league would get another, and maybe even one of those leagues, SEC, every couple of years could get 2, at-large bids. Something like that's going to happen here. Like I said before, Kirk Schultz, the AD for Washington State, he's not screwing this up, but he's definitely holding up the process because he's like, first of all, what happens if Florida State gets out of the ACC? Everything's up in the air. Is Stanford and Cal all of a sudden they want to come back? What do we want to do here? I'm just saying we don't know the answer to these questions. And Kirk Schultz is like, can we wait until we see some of this crap that's happening off the field get resolved? That's all he's basically saying there. All right, guys, that is it for me. I am going to make sure, like I said, I'll cut this up into some videos. If you want me to get anything you want in terms of a video to be made, get in the comments. Let me know. I appreciate all of you guys so much. But that'll be it for me, guys. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed here, but I'll see you guys later. I am out.